Once again, a very warm welcome to the program. This is the Morning Call. I am Nyasha K. Mtizwa. Now we kick off the Morning Call in Mali. Two armed groups in the lawless Menaka region of central Mali signed an accord on Sunday to join forces to fight insecurity, stepping in where government and international efforts have largely failed. Menaka, like other parts of central and northern Mali, have been beset by Islamist, inter-ethnic and criminal violence since conflict broke out in the north of the West African state in 2012. The accord was signed on one side by the group known as Platform and on the other a group known as the Coordination of Movements of Azawad or CMA, who have agreed to the total and immediate cessation of hostile acts and the protection of people and their goods in the areas under their control. Bridget.
In addition to the cessation of hostilities, the other important point of the agreement is the establishment of joint patrols, a measure that should reassure the population if it is put in place, since it would put an end to the anarchic checkpoints set up here and there and which exercise a racketeering effect on civilians. Representatives of the French Barkhane forces and MINUSMA, the UN mission in Mali, who were present at the signing of the agreement, will assist in controlling the circulation of arms.
And now to understand more, we are joined by Alexis Kalambry, the publishing editor of the Mali Tribune, joining us from the capital, Bamako. A very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us on the program. Now, Mr. Kalambry, how do you view this agreement signed between the former CMA rebels and the armed groups known as Platform?
En fait, si vous suivez un peu l'actualité malienne,
according to the latest news from Mali, the country is emerging from a process of inclusive national dialogue. And the armed groups have in fact expressed their intention to take part in the dialogue and become a political party. The Malian law prohibits the creation of political parties on a regional, ethnic or racial basis. So they need to be more open. That's the first aspect. The second is that as the agreement is getting more and more bogged down, and the groups are having more and more difficulty maintaining the troops. So they still need a certain coalition and especially to talk to each other to be able to live up to it, especially since we often have the same people on both sides. And the rivalries between the groups that signed these agreements have long delayed its implementation. Do you believe in this agreement today? Well, yes, because there is nothing innocent in it, I should say. Firstly, it's very calculated. And secondly, it's really based on the realities of the moment. You'd have noticed that both sides are threatened with being on the United States blacklist very often. Both sides do not have the means to pay the groups. And both sides are regularly accused of having militants as well as at least supporters who are on the side of jihadists. So these are enormous difficulties for all these movements on all sides, and they need to be open, if only to get a good name. And then, as I said, with a view to becoming partly political, they need to broaden their horizon.
Now, one last question. In the final press release, the signatories affirmed their desire, to become a political military movement and not just a political party. So isn't that a cause of concern?
No, not at all. In fact, they are already political movement, and then, from their point of view, having obtained nothing so far, they cannot get rid of the armed wing in any way. That is really the sword of Damocles that they are waving at the heads of the leaders, because they are at a level where the demands are not satisfied. The people are in arms. They are obliged to keep this political wing for the time of the negotiations. Otherwise, no party can have one political wing and another a military wing.
Le temps des négociations. Sinon, aucun parti ne peut avoir une branche politique ou civique et une autre branche militaire.